really close to each other. Don't give us away, dude.
That's up.
We're here in North Brooklyn. Construction of the pipeline. We're about to go in and block it. Excavators, people. Not stopping the machine, as you see. Let's keep going. Stopping the construction right now of the pipeline. North Brooklyn, fracked pipeline. Machine is moving away.
Stretch it out.
There are powerful images right here. We're in Lerner and Stack.
No North Brooklyn pipeline. No North Brooklyn pipeline.
No North Brooklyn pipeline! 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 No North Brooklyn pipeline!
Completely interrupted the construction right here. They were about to lift this machine.
No North Brooklyn pipeline! No North Brooklyn pipeline! No North Brooklyn pipeline! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up!
Brooklyn agrees with us that we should shut this pipeline down.
Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up!
Same as drivers going around.
Pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down!
Them Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline is making us sick. From Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline is making us sick. From Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline makes us sick. From Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline makes us sick. From Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline makes us sick. From Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline makes us sick.
us sick. From Brownsville to Bushwick,
This whole pipeline is making us sick.
from Brownsville to Bushwick,
This whole pipeline is making us sick.
from Brownsville to Bushwick,
This whole pipeline is making us sick.
from Brownsville to Bushwick,
This whole pipeline is making us sick.
from Brownsville to Bushwick,
This whole pipeline makes us sick.
from Brownsville to Bushwick.
This whole pipeline makes us sick. This whole pipeline is making us sick.
From Brownsville to
We get sick. When they get rich,
we get sick. If they get rich, we get sick. If they get rich, we get sick. If they get rich, we get sick.
If they get rich,
We get sick.
if they get rich, we get sick. If they get rich,
We get sick.
if they get rich,
We get sick.
if they get rich,
We get sick.
if they get rich,
We get sick.
if they get rich,
We get sick.
if they get rich,
We get sick. They get rich.
We get sick.
If they get rich. We get sick. If they get rich.
We get sick.
Right now in Brooklyn, as we are stopping right now the construction of the pipeline. In
They get rich.
one of the corners. We're in the corner of Stag and Lerner.
Everywhere we go.
We just stopped the construction. So the machines just out here.
Everywhere we go, people want to know who we are. So we tell them. We fight the pipeline. Secret racist pipeline. We fight the pipeline. Secret racist pipeline. Everywhere we go,
people wanna know
people want to know
who we are.
who we are.
So we tell them.
So we tell them.
We fight the pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
Secret racist pipeline.
Secret racist pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
North Brooklyn pipeline.
North Brooklyn pipeline.
Everywhere we go,
Everywhere we go,
people wanna know
people want to know
who we are.
who we are.
So we tell them.
So we tell them.
We fight the pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
Secret racist pipeline.
Secret racist pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
We fight the
The
pipeline.
North Brooklyn pipeline.
The North Brooklyn pipeline.
Back that frack attack. We gonna
Beep, beep, back that frack attack. We gonna beat
Back that frack attack. We're gonna beat back that frack attack.
We gonna beat.
Back that frack attack. We're gonna beat back that frack attack.
We gonna beat.
Back that frack attack. We're gonna beat back that frack attack. We're gonna beat back that frack attack. We're gonna beat back that frack attack.
We gonna beat.
Back that frack attack. We're gonna beat 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 back that frack attack. You shall not pay!
construction is halted. And it seems like they're leaving now. Seems like we've succeeded in the
Watch your back, watch your back.
I'm a fourth-generation Greenpointer. Wow. My great-grandmother was born on Montrose Avenue in 1899, and we're still there. And to be honest with all of you, a year ago, when I joined this fight, I didn't know very much about pipelines at all. I didn't know how our public utility system worked. Providing heat, sure, but also massive profits to shareholders. I didn't know about the St. Energy Project and all the incredible work that they do fighting pipelines and their consequences all over New York State. A lifetime has passed since last October. And what I've learned, what we've all learned since then, is that what National Grid is trying to do is criminal. At a time of unprecedented climate emergency, in the middle of a global pandemic, they are running a massive pipeline through our borough, several times larger than anything they have in the ground right now, not to heat our homes, but to transport fracked gas to sell for profit. They are building it through predominantly black, brown, and working class neighborhoods who have suffered for decades from environmental injustice and deliberate and racist disinvestment. And on top of all that, while National Grid makes millions of dollars a year, they want to raise our monthly bills to pay for it. That's a great deal for their investors, but one that will leave the rest of us in the dark. Because when the water comes, National Grid and their shareholders won't be the ones trying to decide which family photo album to take or to leave behind.
That's right.
They won't be the ones worrying about the kids and the dog. They won't be the ones forced out of their homes. It will be you and it will be me. My home, Greenpoint, is no stranger to this fight. Oil has been processed on Newtown Creek since before the Civil War. The Industrial Revolution in the city was born there. We know that the consequences are generational because we are the legacy of those decisions. That legacy looks like soil, so poisoned by lead it's unusable for food. It looks like asthma rates on the south side of Williamsburg and all along the B2E corridor that are some of the highest in the nation. No surprise when a highway cuts your neighborhood in half. It looks like one of the largest oil spills in North America, underneath Greenpoint, a Superfund site on Newtown Creek. Damage that National Grid themselves, in their 100 years in Greenpoint, is responsible for. And they're trying to do it again. Instead of investing in the renewable energy that New York needs, they have been using hundreds of millions of dollars of our money to quickly and quietly put a massive pipeline through our borough. They've done it in segments, a bit at a time, knowing that if they stayed under the radar, our neighborhoods would not be able to effectively organize. And it's over. Our community has been in this fight. We are in this fight. We've shut down power plants and waste transfer stations, secured parkland, and made Exxon and the corporations pay hundreds of millions of dollars to clean up the oil spill in our community. We've killed the dragon before and we'll do it again. We'll do it together because we know that these fights cannot be just about one neighborhood anymore, and they never should have been. This pipeline is the clearest example. What happens to Brownsville and East New York and Bushwick and Williamsburg will happen to Greenpoint. The consequences of climate emergency guarantee it. And we are running out of time. We know what climate emergency will do to our city, what it will do to our homes. The storms are on their way. If this pipeline is completed, we'll never get it out of the ground, and we'll drown with it. Last week, 8 community members answered that call. They locked themselves to the pipeline, and along with the support of their neighbors, shut down construction. They had to take this brave action, not because they wanted to. No one wants to chain themselves to a pipe and go to jail. But because National Grid is almost done with the first 4 phases of this pipeline, and soon dangerous fracked gas will start flowing beneath our feet. And ultimately, they had to take action because Mayor de Blasio and Governor Cuomo have failed us. They have failed to listen to the calls of the thousands of New Yorkers who live along the North Brooklyn pipeline route, who have protested and held town halls and teach-ins, who have submitted public comments and signed petitions, who have shown up again and again and again and again, who have shown up in the middle of a pandemic to protect their homes, to protect their children, and to protect their future. And somehow, after all that, our mayor and our governor are still on the sidelines. Every other elected official that is standing here today gets it. That's why they're here. And my community, all of our communities are waiting for them. Mayor de Blasio and Governor Cuomo must stand with us and do their job to stop this dangerous fossil fuel infrastructure. We have everything we need right here. I'd like to share something with all of you. It's something I've carried with me while I've been fighting this pipeline. In the darkest days of the Great Depression, at a time when our economy had collapsed, there was a program called the Civilian Conservation Corps. My grandpa, then 16 years old, left Brooklyn for the first time and went upstate with thousands of others to plant trees. An investment in the ground, in the soil, in the next generation and the next. An understanding that even when things seem like they're at their worst, one person standing in solidarity with their neighbors and their friends and complete strangers can start fixing what's been broken. That is the work we are doing here today for ourselves and for the future. To those that claim to be our leaders, now is the time to lead. We are depending on you. To Governor Cuomo and to Mayor de Blasio, we don't want any more pipelines. We want renewable energy for our homes. We need public power. And we are standing together. East New York and Brownsville, Bushwick, Williamsburg, and Greenpoint, every neighborhood in this city and every community in this state, join us. We're going to shut it down.
That's right.
Officials are here today to stand with the community, not the big corporate utility, and say, shut this dirty frack gas pipeline down for good. So I'm going to pass the mic. They promised they wouldn't speak half as long as I did.
You were great.
And first, I want to pass it to State Senator Julia Salazar, the 18th District. The Great Deeds District, one of the very first elected officials to oppose this pipeline. She helped lead the way. She's been a key voice in bringing public power bills to the state Senate. She stands with us. Julia.
Thank you, Kevin. You know, Stopping the expansion of fracked gas infrastructure like this is necessary for the survival of our communities. The continued burning of fossil fuels and expansion of infrastructure like this, it's destroying the environment. And Black and brown communities like ours have been on the front lines of the battle against this harmful way of existing. In fact, the fracked gas that would flow through this pipeline from Pennsylvania through our communities would be 86 times more potent than carbon dioxide in contributing to global warming. Last year in the state legislature, we passed landmark climate justice legislation in the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, the CLCPA. One of the most critical aspects of that legislation is that it would transition our state ultimately completely off of the use of fossil fuels and to renewable energy. It is counterintuitive and absolutely wrong to, on the one hand, be passing legislation like that, committing to transitioning off of fossil fuels, and then for our corporate utilities to be expanding fracked gas infrastructure in our communities. Right? It doesn't make any sense. And what's even worse is that they're doing it on the backs of working people. They're doing it at a cost to ratepayers, right? And so they want us, all of us, to pay for them to expand fracked gas infrastructure that's going to be a stranded asset in a matter of time if we're serious about meeting our climate justice goals. And we must be serious about meeting our climate justice goals. So we're calling on Mayor de Blasio. He has the power to deny these permits, to revoke them, to stop this construction. To Governor Cuomo, we're telling you, do not grant the corporate utilities another rate hike. Our communities cannot afford it financially, and we cannot afford it from a climate justice perspective either. It's unsustainable. And we're here to reject it, and I am so proud to be in this movement with all of you. If it weren't for all of you leading this fight, you know, we wouldn't be here either. And so I just want to commend you for your work. Keep up the fight, because as Kevin said, you know, we've defeated a dragon before, and we can do it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I want to bring up our comptroller, Scott Stringer, who is fighting the rate hikes in the state, has worked to divest New York City pensions from fossil fuel funds. He has taken on this fight as our comptroller, and as someone running for mayor, we know he will make sure that it's an issue that every candidate who wants the job takes a hard stand on, and he'll fight.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, Kevin, Senator Salazar, and all of you who have spoken and will speak. Of course, our great Congresswoman and all the elected officials, the Assemblywoman and the council member. I want to just say a couple of things about this fight. Years from now, our children are going to ask us where we were when the battle was fought. They're going to ask us, what did we do to alter this moment in America and around the country? And all of you here today are throwing down because we do not have much time left for ourselves and our children. You see, the timeline for climate disaster is already underway. It is no longer 10, 20, 30 years from now. Do not think for a second that Hurricane Sandy 2 is coming 25 years from now. It's right around the corner. And in order to meet this challenge, We have got to take bold, unprecedented action. They told me years ago that we could not divest from fossil fuels. Don't even try it. The energy companies would come after you. Well, they came after us, but we are on our way to divestment, the first public pension fund divestment in the United States of America. But it wasn't just what we divest from, it really is what we invest in. And that's why we've doubled to $4 billion the amount of money we're putting into green jobs and solar and batteries and a whole new way of thinking economically about what we can do for our economy. That's the things that we believe in. And I also want to say we have to take responsibility as city government. And we can change things right now. First, in Astoria, no peaker plant ever, ever, ever. That's it. And right here, a fracked pipeline at the cost of $185 billion that a mayor can simply deny a permit and send a signal in the United States, and he's not down with that? I say hell no. I want to. Hell no. My promise to each and every one of you, in the name of the children, we will have a moratorium, a permanent moratorium on fossil fuel infrastructure in this city. We will begin the public power infrastructure investment. We will change the course of history, and New York City will lead. We've seen what COVID has done to our black and brown communities. We've seen what happens when we don't invest in our communities and we don't create a people-driven infrastructure. We saw this with COVID, but we're about to see this with fossil fuel. And that's why today is so important. I stand with you, I want to work with you, but most importantly, this fight is about the future of this planet. We all have to be in it. We all have to be held accountable, especially elected officials. I want to stand with Julie and so many of you to make a difference. Thank you all, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Councilor. Thank you. Next, I want to bring up our Assemblywoman Maritza Davila from the 53rd District, Bushwick and Williamsburg. Assemblymember Davila has worked so hard for affordable public housing, for NYCHA housing in this district. That uphill fight is made harder when corporations like National Grid decide the community you have advocated for your entire career is an area of acceptable risk for a massive pipeline. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. So we're standing here once again to defend our community, to say that we are sick and tired of being a dumping site. Sick and tired of being sick and tired. I grew up in this community. There was a time that, and Nydia will be testament to that you could not walk down these blocks because you would have been a target of crime. We cleaned it up. We made it what it is today with your help. We are now facing one of the most major crises in Williamsburg, Greenpoint, and Bushwick, and that is this pipeline. Have we forgotten that 5 years ago, several people died of an explosion in 2015? Have we forgotten that in 2014 there was another explosion in the city? Have we forgotten that? Lives have been lost. Well, I say in my district, and with my colleagues in government, I am going to call out our mayor. I'm going to call out our governor and say, mi casa is not your casa until you respect our rules. I also want to mention community process. Where was the community process? Where was it? Why was this done overnight as like you thieves in the night? Why? Why didn't we have the information we needed. Why do we have to wait until this time? Guess what? My children grew up in this community. My grandchildren are going to grow up in this community. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let you come in here and disrespect us and put us in harm's way because of money, because of greed, because that's what we're doing right now, right? That's what they're doing to us. And I refuse to pay more. I refuse to pay more. Do you refuse to pay more? Yes! Do you refuse to pay more? Yes! We will not stand for it, and if we have to be here every day, Mayor and Governor, we will do so. So I want to thank all my colleagues in government. We're going to stick together on this. Thank you to all the organizers. But we cannot let back. We cannot let back. We need to let all our brothers and sisters in this community know what is going on. So I want to thank you all for being here today. I look forward to continuing to fight this. And I'm sure we're going to get it shut down. So let's just do what we do.
Shut it down! 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 Shut it down!
All right, next I want to invite up our council member Antonio Reynoso of the 34th Council District. Something that I really admire, one of the accomplishments of Antonio's that I really admire is the waste capacity reduction bill that you passed. And what that did was it put a cap on how much trash could exist in a community. How many trash transfer stations and waste transfer stations and all this. And, you know, I think that you'd agree, Antonio, that this pipeline is trash. And we got to get rid of it. Antonio's running for borough president as well, and we're depending on him to make the concrete commitments to the type of future that Brooklyn needs, where we don't have to chain ourselves to pipelines to keep our neighbors safe. Antonio.
Thank you, Kevin. I want to talk about our history a bit. I don't think National Grid knows who we are in North Brooklyn, because we have been fighting for environmental justice our whole lives, is who we are. It's an unfortunate reality that we're born into this fight. We've had to fight incinerators during the Giuliani era, who wanted to put 2 incinerators, where the Hasidim and the Latino community came together and stopped that fight. We've had to fight against the legacy of Robert Moses and a BQE that splits the Southside community in half. And in reward, what we got was a park on either side of the BQE, so that when our children decide they want to play, they have to suck in the fumes of vehicles running through it. Then we have the shutdown of Fresh Kills, which made it so that transfer stations started opening up in neighborhoods like ours. We handled 40% of the city's trash in one community board. 40%. Through legislation, we were able to cut that in half, right, and bring justice again to our community. Now we have more work that needs to be done in stopping this pipeline. And we will stop this pipeline. This pipeline's lifespan is about 50 years. And National Grid doesn't care about people. They don't care about the environment. They care about their bottom line. And who in their right mind, with money as their primary concern, would put in a 50-year investment to use it for what, 5, 10 years? That is not their goal. They want to maximize that asset. And the way they do that is by using it for 50 years, its entire lifespan. That's right. And we're not ignorant to that. We're not stupid, which is what they think we are. We see it. They also have no plan on any public-facing media or website, whatever it is, about what their plan to divest out of fossil fuel is. They say they're about it, but they don't have anything in writing that actually commits or shows us how we're going to get there. And if National Grid, arguably the biggest criminal of them all, doesn't have a plan on paper, then they're not going to have a plan on paper. They have no commitment to this community. So I'm going to talk, we talked about our history, now we're going to talk about our future. Because the future will be that if this pipeline, any part of its process, runs through any single oversight opportunity, through the Assembly, through the Congress, through the Senate, or through the Council, it will be shut down. And what I'm hearing is that there might be a variance that they need to run through the City Council. Well, I'm waiting for it, and we will shut it down. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Antonio. Next, I want to invite up Shelby Garner, who's the representative of Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney. Carolyn Maloney was one of the key voices in the Superfund designation for Newtown Creek. She sat in a tent overnight to help secure the public land for Bushwick Inlet Park. And Shelby, I'm looking forward to seeing the congressman bring her camping gear down here to the pipeline.
Hi, unfortunately with the postponement, the congresswoman couldn't be here today, but she asked me to say a few brief words. She is very, very proud to be joining with Kim and with Lee, with Sane Energy, with all the elected officials here, with all the residents, and with all the climate activists who have come out to say no to this pipeline. We are meeting here today in an entire neighborhood burdened with the toxic legacy of America's industrial past. She fought for years to get the Superfund designation for Newtown Creek, a waterway polluted largely by the oil and gas industry. Yet here we are today in 2020, forced to come out here on a Monday morning to stand against another fossil fuel pipeline being forced through our communities. National Grid can't show a need for this pipeline. Maybe they need to convince their investors and shareholders that they're more profitable than they actually are. Here in New York City, we need to be cutting our reliance on fossil fuels now. The fires raging across the West Coast, killing people, destroying property, and apocalyptically darkening the daytime sky are climate change. We don't have time to waste. We need to be sprinting, not crawling towards the use of 100% renewable energy sources. We're far past the time that we can put off to tomorrow what must be done today. It's why Congresswoman Maloney is a proud original co-sponsor of the Green New Deal and the Green New Deal for public housing. But when companies here in New York continue to invest in fossil fuel infrastructure, it shows where their priorities are and where they think the future of energy production is. We need to prove them wrong, right here, right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I want to invite up Elizabeth Adams, the Legislative Director for Councilmember Stephen Levin. Elizabeth has worked on environmental issues in Stephen Levin's office for quite some time, drafted legislation for construction dust and green roofs, has done so much for our community, is running for the 33rd Council District. Elizabeth, thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be with you here all today. We are here to say no to fracked gas, no to new pipelines, and no to the continued reliance on fossil fuel energy while the climate crisis is worsening every single day. We don't have any more time to waste. We need to move to green energy now. The people power here is inspiring. North Brooklyn has long showed up to fight environmental injustices our neighborhoods have faced, and today is no different. People are putting their lives on the line, literally, for our future. A huge congrats and thank you for everyone who has been at the pipeline, putting their bodies on the line, getting arrested. This is about our lives. This is about our futures. This is about our communities. And it shows that we're winning. Everyone here today, we are winning. We can stop this pipeline, and we can commit to a new path forward that invests in renewable energy at the scale that we deserve. National Grid has shown that we cannot trust them. Last summer, they weaponized people's reliance on natural gas, to try to force the state to approve the NESE pipeline. Their political attempt to extort customers to get their way show that they could not be trusted. And here we are again today, fighting a pipeline to fill their supposed new need for gas, when what we actually need is to rapidly shift to renewable energy. We are at a crossroads. The governor and the mayor can either continue to uphold the very system that is outdated and dangerous, or we can actually make sure that we are meeting our 20 by 30 and 20 by 50 green energy goals that we passed at the state this year. Thanks to the state legislature. Let's be clear. The governor and the mayor have the tools to do this today, to stop this pipeline right now. The governor and the PSC could halt this infrastructure expansion project. They approved this project and they can pull the permits for this. And people will be out here every single day until that happens. Right. The mayor also has the ability to deny street permits for this project. I want to highlight that because the mayor has been silent on this, and he has also, at the same time, said that he's going to fight back against fossil fuel infrastructure. Yet he could deny these street permits. Phase 5, this is about the future of Brooklyn, and it's about the future of our city. National Grid has already dug up our streets and has harmed businesses along the pipeline route in North Brooklyn. We cannot let them finish this pipeline and compromise our health and safety. Phase 5 is illegal. It has not been funded, and National Grid still needs ratepayer approval before they can start construction.
That's right.
Asking New Yorkers to pay more for a pipeline that isn't needed during a pandemic when thousands of people have lost their jobs is unconscionable. Enough is enough. Mayor de Blasio, Governor Cuomo, stop this pipeline today. And let's get public power for New York.
Next, I want to invite up Sandy Nurse. No? Yeah? Okay, all right.
Maybe the Congress?
Yeah, well, I was going to save the best for last. Sure, great. Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez. La Luchadora, a towering presence in Brooklyn politics, unafraid of taking on party bosses and polluters, responsible for the environmental devastation and asthma rates in this district. She helped secure the Superfund designation for Newtown Creek, and it's led to so much of the mandated cleanup that Exxon, and National Grid have had to do. She's helped tip the scales after the tremendous work done by our allies in Sunset Park against Industry City, and now she's turned her sights on this pipeline. Congresswoman Velasquez.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. I know since the permits are for the city and the state, I told Kevin to let the city members and the state members to speak first. But let me just say this. Look, the history of this community has been one of environmental racism.
That's right.
We have fought corporate America time and again. And the perception from corporate America that we do not have or didn't have the political muscle. One thing is clear, we are not afraid to fight against big interests in our city. And this is a moment that has found us. I will say to the governor of New York and to the mayor of New York, when is the right time? People do not want to hear about future goals in fighting global warming. Global warming is about protecting the sanctity of life. So all of us must come together to say that we are demanding for the state, the city, and on November 3rd, we will face an election that will have incredible ramifications going forward and implementing public policies that will bring us to zero emissions and renewable energy. Look, we cannot be afraid because this is about our lives. This is about our planet. This is about the future of our grandchildren and the children's children. And we gotta fight back to send a clear message to corporate America that not longer they can come in and just put corporate greed and put so many people at risk. So when we fight for global warming, when we fight corporations that think that they could dictate public policy and that people will not have the power of their voices to say, it's not next year, it's not 3 years from now, it's now. It is now. And please, I know that we are going to be facing some elections coming soon, 2021. My message to everyone is clear, and any candidate. For me, global warming is real. Personally, real. When 3,000 Puerto Ricans lost their life in Puerto Rico, when so many Caribbean islands, look, you can discuss immigration policies, but you cannot detach the fact that people from Central America are forced to leave their countries because their land cannot produce anything anymore. I was the one who said to Nancy Pelosi, we cannot discuss immigration if we don't go to Central America and see with our own eyes what corporate America has done in those countries. So, it is not that I didn't like Industry City or that I don't like them. It is about the fact that you cannot provide for a rezoning application that is basically detached from the new reality of waterfronts in New York City without any investment to the infrastructure that will put some safeguard when it comes to floods, hurricanes, and other climate issues. So let's be real. People have the power. Yes. People have the power. Yes. And for those who are running for any office, who has any authority or jurisdiction, let's be clear. Come to us and talk to us about your vision as to how we are going to move forward when it comes to global warming. Not only New York City, regionally, and our country, and the role that we must play with those underdeveloped countries who are so poor because of the degradation that they have been subjected. What is the role of the United States of America in providing resources so that they could develop the infrastructure that will protect their lives? Yes. Thank you, and God bless.
Yes.
Thank you, Congressman.
People have the power.
People have the power.
People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power. People have the power.
All right, now I'd like to invite up Sandy Nurse, the founder of BK Rot, a composting service that has been building green jobs in Brooklyn for 10 years. Sandy has done so much for mutual aid in this city. When so many of our infrastructure, so much of our political structure failed, Sandy stepped up at the height of this crisis. And thank you. She's running for city council in the 37th district, and we know she will carry this fight that she's been fighting her entire time here in the city against these pipelines for public power to the city council. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Thank you all. Hello. Hi. Thank you for inviting me here. I just want to say I'm here standing with all of you to say that Brooklyn will not be a sacrifice zone. That Brooklyn will not be sacrificed for the pockets of shareholders of National Grid. So I'm really, really proud of all of you. When I was coming here today, I was really, really hopeful and positive because we have amazing women leading this movement. have been stopping fossil fuel infrastructure in New York City and New York State for a very long time. And with them in this movement, I really know that we are going to win. We are going to shut down this pipeline. So I want to thank you for being there. I want to thank everyone who put their bodies on the line this week and who got arrested. It was a very powerful thing. One thing I just want to add that hasn't been mentioned here, and it's in line with the work that I've been doing for a long time. We need workers in the environmental justice and climate justice movement. And so I think it's really important that in our protests and our rallies and our messages, that workers who are here know that this movement is pro-worker. We need labor unions, we need workers, and we need to drastically fund their programs, workforce development programs, to transition them out of fossil fuel industries and into renewable industries and sustainable industries. We cannot go anywhere without the jobs that support where we need to go. And we need to fund the training and reskilling for that. So even on these protest rallies, when there's tensions between workers and people actually standing up for all of us, it's very important that we let them know that we are pro-worker. We want them in the movement. I just wanted to say that because it hasn't been mentioned. And I also want to highlight, like the Congresswoman, I have 3 siblings who live in Puerto Rico. They've been hit again and again after the storms, and they've got no funding, no relief. So, the front lines of Puerto Rico are the front lines of New York City, are the front lines of many coastal communities, and we need to stand up and stand together and fight back. I just want to thank you all for being here, for all of the candidates running. I encourage you all to not take money from fossil fuel industry. I encourage you to be out here supporting the front lines. I stand with all of you. I'm so proud of you. Anybody who wants to learn how to lock down to one of these things, I can show you how to do it. Okay.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. Next, I want to ask Steve Chester to come up. Steve is the Greenpointer and co-chair of the Community Board 1 Environmental Committee. He wrote and adopted a resolution opposing this pipeline that the Community Board passed unanimously, which, if you know anything about Community Board 1, is not an easy task.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you so much everyone who's coming out every single day and putting it on the line to stop this pipeline. Community Board 1 here in Brooklyn represents the north side, the south side, Greenpoint, East Williamsburg, 160,000 people that are rep by this board. And at the beginning of the year, through the outing of St. Energy and the North Brooklyn Coalition and Assemblyman Joe Lenthal, National Grid came to the community board to talk about this quote-unquote improvement project, and they were outed. It was just really a bunch of BS. It's a profit generating project, and it's unsafe, and it totally, it just does not, it works totally against the, the climate act that's on the books at the state and at the city level. And so after that, the community board, as Kevin stated, unanimously voted to a resolution to write to the governor to basically to stop this pipeline, to urge the Public Service Commission to reject the rate hike. I mean, it's just really just an incredible amount of nerve to ask the taxpayers and the residents of this district and the city and the state to fork over, a raise for the National Grid to the tune of $185 million. Then fast forward to more recently, and you can see that this monster has not died. It's still very much alive. And Kim and Lee with St. Energy and the coalition came back to the board and updated us. So the board, again, just at the last meeting, unanimously approved a resolution and letter to Mayor de Blasio, just to say this is all wrong and to not issue any permits for continuing this pipeline, for trucking liquefied natural gas, and for the terminal that's on Newtown Creek and Greenpoint, and also to Public Service Commission TO John Rhodes, just to shut this down. Community Board 1 does not want this pipeline in their district. Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Steve. Now I want to bring up District Leader Sammy Namir Olivares. Listen, there he is. Co-founder of Ayuda Mutua in Bushwick, and so many of the mutual aid efforts out there. Thank you, Sammy.
Who's ready to fight? I say racist, you say pipeline. Racist? Pipeline. Racist? Pipeline. We are here standing at a crossroads. We're standing over a borderline. Behind us is PS 250 at public schools, where children, black and brown children from our community, for public housing, from low-income families, go to school every day. Underneath, pass a racist pipeline who is a ticking bomb, 30 inches of gas, frack gas, who would explode at any moment. This is a landmine. This is literally a bomb upon our eyes. So we are standing here today in solidarity with the advocates who have shutting down this pipeline, who have holding the fort, resist, and literally attaching themselves to this pipeline. Also in solidarity with the workers, as Sandy Nurse said, that have been forced to work through a pandemic to feed their families while exposing their lives for the greed of national greed. So I'm standing here with Patricia, a hospital worker from Brownsville, where this pipeline is going to come. Patricia, this week, spoke in a video talking about how Brownsville is one of the worst places with asthma in the entire city, and how this city and this state have forced through and pushed through and shoveled a racist pipeline over our Brooklyn's brown and brown communities at the expense of our children, of our communities, and the future of this planet. So Patricia came all over from Brownsville because she understands the impact that it will have in our families and children. So I couldn't stand but say, Patricia, come and stand, because she's at the front lines, sending a message from her soul about how this is wrong. Everything about this pipeline is wrong. How it was conceived, who's gonna pay for it, how it's being constructed, and how it's gonna pay for it. So we are here to say, not in our land. When nothing about us, without us. And our community didn't approve this. Our community wants a clean air, clean water, and a better future, and a better environment for our city and for our planet. So we are here to standing up against this racist pipeline, because environmental justice is racial justice. It's workers' rights. This landmine of this bomb that we are standing over will cross our district of Williamsburg, Greenpoint, Bushwick, and Brownsville. And the coincidence is that it's a black and brown low-income communities. Why is not over in other part of the cities? It is here because it's our communities. But as others mentioned, not in our space. This pipeline will cross. It's in an evacuation zone of 150,000 people. It will cross 55 schools, 81 child care facilities, and 1 hospital. Imagine the devastation of this explosion, and a catastrophic not only for people's lives but to our environment. That's right, that's right. So this dangerous fossil fuel pipeline goes against what our communities want. It's clean energy, renewable energy, a municipal Green New Deal, and really achieve and combat climate change from our city. Yes. As Assemblywoman Marisa Davila, let's revisit our history. Do you know that transporting liquefied gas is illegal in New York? It is, because it's deadly. In 1973, 43 workers died of an explosion in Staten Island because of a liquefied gas, correct? So what the National Grid said, okay, let's put it through a pipeline and let's pass it through a pipeline so then we can transport it to other states. This is a deadly pipeline and really can destroy our communities. Our country is burning.
The clock is ticking for our environment. Fires are destroying forests all throughout the country. Hurricanes are killing people in Puerto Rico. Our water are contaminated. And sea levels are rising, and our coasts are disappearing. This pipeline is a dangerous step forward into retroceding to advance and really combat climate change on time before it's too late. So we need to shut this pipeline before it shut us down. New York needs to lead on the environmental justice and fight for climate change that has decimated our communities for decades. We need clean energy, we need renewable energy, we need public power and community autonomy, and we need a real municipal Green New Deal. So we are ready to fight. We have done it from Standing Rock to Vieques, Puerto Rico. Our indigenous communities, our black and brown communities have stand up to shut down this racist action, and we are doing it in North Brooklyn as well, okay? We're gonna stop this injustice. We're gonna put our bodies on the line because our lives are at stake. Our children are at stake. So who's ready to fight? Yeah! Who's ready to put our bodies on the line? So when I say pipeline, you say shut it down. Pipeline? 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 Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to take a picture over by the banner, and then we're going to march. So if you'll join us right over there, our elected officials out in the front, the rest of the community, we're going to take a large photograph with everyone together, and then Lisa, she from St. Energy, is going to give us some instructions.
Hey, everybody. Also, so once we take this picture and we march, you can come back to this spot. We plan to rally here peacefully every single day. As our Assemblywoman said, we need to have a presence here. And also, just a couple quick things that you can do before we take this picture while it's getting set up. On our website, you can send a comment to the governor calling on him to reject this egregious rate hike for frack gas. And I also really like the Assemblywoman's idea. I don't want to pay for this pipeline. Does anybody here want to pay for this pipeline? No! So maybe keep, your eye out for some utility strike stuff. Also, to hold down this space every day, to rally, we're going to need a lot of help. So look out. We're going to put a form out later today for people to get more involved, to hold down these roles. Yeah. And then also, we have some amazing people here today. People like Gabe, who actually shut down this pipeline. Come back. We're going to have Gabe speak when we come back here. We're going to have the community speak here. So this isn't over, but we just want to make sure while our electeds are here, we get this picture, we get the march going. And come back. We need every single one of you. Woo! Woo! Yeah! Everybody wants to be a part of this picture today? You can look behind your elected officials. Everybody hold up your signs. We're going to march. Monica, can you hold the
Yes.
We're just gonna do a short walk up the street. We have the street, and we're just gonna march up to Manhattan, march up to Montrose. Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up! Rise up! And shut the pipeline down! Rise up!
We're here in Brooklyn. We just heard from some of the elected officials before the pipeline here in North Brooklyn. Now we're marching next to the construction site. It's all the media who we have the attention of press, media. We're here in the corner of Montrose and Manhattan Avenue. This is where
Rise up, and shut the pipeline down. Rise up, and shut the pipeline down. Rise up, and shut the pipeline.
we're just about to come to the actual place where we were doing the action. Just a couple stay back. There's some police presence here, and as the construction site has been shut down for now. So it's been covered now and construction is halted. It's a great victory. Here comes the march.
Good afternoon, everyone.
My name is Gabriel Jameson. I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York. I'm a black environmental activist from Brownsville. I am with the Brownsville Resident Green Committee that we started this summer to fight this frack gas pipeline that's going on in my neighborhood. I would have just talked to you about my neighborhood and the vision for my neighborhood. Brownsville, I will tell you some statistics about my neighborhood. We got the most highest rate of asthma in all of New York City. That's uncount. My community is full of black and brown people. The air quality level of my community is negative 0.8. You know what that stands for? That means dangerous. Negative 0.8 is dangerous air quality levels. Your children are not supposed to be breathed at. But because I come from a community where Brownsville, where people don't see you, because you're black and you're brown, and really because you're poor. That's the perception that they think of people that come from Brownsville, that they're poor and they're uneducated. But it's really not true. Those are stereotypes. So I'm going to go on and tell you a little bit more about my community and how we can transform Brownsville and all of Brooklyn, New York City. Brownsville is a community that's moving forward in unity, a movement of multiracial and multi-ethnic. We are taking action to right the wrong that have been done to us and undo the years of deep-rooted trauma. We got a lot of trauma, all of New York City. We need to do this. We do this not just by acknowledging the wrong, but by moving forward and imagining and engineering the Brownsville of the future we want to see. It starts with building a framework with sustainable love and kindness at its core value, the moral value. It requires us to believe in our people and make investment in them. That means give our people more access to resources and equity. And enforce policy that's going to create this reality and that will allow us to sustain ourselves. What that means is we have to create policies that's going to empower black and brown folks. If our elected officials are not empowering black and brown folks, what are they in office for? I want y'all to say this, and this is really true. Accountability breeds responsibility. Accountability breeds responsibility. Say it with me. Accountability breeds responsibility. We need, in the word accountable, it means account. You are accounted for. As a community, we are accounted for each other, and we have to look out for each other. What National Grid is doing is not looking out for us. They're looking out for their shareholders. They're trying to get a big Christmas bonus. That's what they're trying to get right now. But we're not going to let that happen in Brooklyn, not where I'm from. That's a Brownsville who elects an official that will embrace sustainable development, a Green New Deal, energy for all, green jobs, and universal health care. That is the foundation of building an intimate, social inclusion community where we all can function and thrive together, regardless of race, gender, identity, health, or your disability. This is the future. This is our future, and healing our pain looks like. This is what healing our pain looks like. We're acknowledging it. We are not afraid because we know this is possible. This vision takes action and allow us to use our voice so we can use our voice so we can make our voice be heard. This is the catalyst for transformative growth, not change. We don't want change anymore. People come and go. We want to grow, retire. I come from love. Love is sustainable. We need sustainable love. If you ever turn the word love backwards, L-O-V-E, and you spell it backwards, the first four level of evolution, evolve. We need love, and we need legacy, ownership, vocation, education. That's what we want. We want healthier housing for our children, like the Congresswoman that already passed the legislation for healthier Green New Deal, a housing Green New Deal. That's what we want. We want a Green New Deal. We want energy for all. This is the future that we're doing. This is the work that Sandy's been doing in Brownsville and all over Brooklyn, New York. So this is who we need to elect. We need to elect more people like you guys because y'all are doing the work, and we are doing it together as a collective. This is about building an equitable and a sustainable community for a healthier Brownsville and all of Brooklyn, NYC. So I just want to sit there and say thank you all for coming out. We're in this together. We got a lot more work to be done. This is not over. National Grid cannot get away with this. And we're going to hold Mayor de Blasio ass accountable and Governor Cuomo because it's not happening on my block. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming. One more round of applause for Gabriel Jameson. Folks, thank you so much for coming. Next up, we're going to move on to the sidewalk. We're going to keep chanting, keep the energy up, and tell National Grid we're going to shut this down. Let's move on to the sidewalk, folks, and repeat after me. Everywhere we go.
Everywhere we go.
People want to know.
People want to know.
Who we are.
Who we are.
So we tell them.
So we tell them.
We fight the pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
Secret racist pipeline.
Secret racist pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
The whole fight.
Everywhere we go.
People wanna know.
People want to know.
Who we are.
Who we are.
So we tell them.
So we tell them.
We fight the pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
Secret racist pipeline.
The secret racist pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
Secret racist pipeline.
Secret racist pipeline.
Wait, let me do one more chant. One more chant. What do we want? What do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? If we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it, what do we want? When do we want it? If we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it, thank you so much, everyone.
All right, everybody. We're gonna wrap up. We're gonna play some music. A song that was written specifically with the words of folks who've been fighting this pipeline. Is that the music? Nope, that's not the music. We're gonna play some other music, which is great. I just want to, well, I'll vamp a little bit while they're finding the song. I just want to thank so much all of our elected officials for coming, all of you for coming out, all the different coalitions, all the different organizations, the Frack Out of Brooklyn Coalition, the New North Brooklyn Pipeline Coalition, our Congress people, our state senators, our assembly people, our district leaders, our council people. The list goes on and on and on. Everybody except for Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio. Greenpoint stands in solidarity with Brownsville and with Bushwick and with East Williamsburg and with Bedside, with every community along this pipeline route. We'll see you tomorrow.
discover evil when you undercover. See with the stuff of justice. Fish really suffer from open blocks, direct covers. You can't escape, painted by the other. Chain your bitch, old baby mother. Niggas that need gold, apple color. Want us to back it up, shy, rain down, freedom, tell us how to so waiting on the 40 acre. We run the world abused by folklore. Black body, the rider side, the plot source. Lady to lady, I understand for sure. Minds ignored, the whole street to explore. The deep sound, can't wash it out, shit is real, conjuring bell. Put us on our knees, make us scream and clear it out. Keep it real, you afraid when we speak loud. When we scream, you see the ghost in the water now. Simmer down, Mr. Black, you can't reach out. And the story we gon' breathe in and breathe out.
Hey everyone, good evening. How y'all been? Y'all feeling good? Yeah, we fighting National Grid up in here. We don't like National Grid. I got a chant of my own. So this is what we're going to say real fast. It's not on the paper, but I would say, when you say Brooklyn, you say Brownsville. Brooklyn! 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 Now when you say Brownsville, you say Bernie. Brownsville! Brownsville! Thank you. Now I'm joking around. Now we're going to go back up and we're going to march. But we're going to march by saying chants. So we're going to start heading around. So let's start turning around the flag. Let's turn.
Towards the construction site. We're marching back towards the construction site, y'all.
Thank you.
I guess we're marching back to the construction. Towards the construction. So we'll continue our life.
When they get rich, we get sick. When they get rich, let's go everyone. When they get rich, we get sick. 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 I got a good chant for you guys. You're gonna like it. Let's go. We're gonna beat back that fracker type. 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 From Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline is making us sick. From Brownsville, from Bushwick, this whole pipeline is making us sick. From Brownsville, this whole pipeline is making us sick. From Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline is making us sick. To Bushwick, this whole pipeline is making us sick. From Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline is making us sick. Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline is making us sick. From Brownsville to Bushwick, this whole pipeline is making us sick. Get up.
As you can see, we actually did stop construction.
Get up. Get down.
No workers here.
Get up. Get down. Get the crap out of our town. Get up. Get down. Get the crap out of our town. Get up. Get down. Get the crap
Will still be here every day until they officially stop construction of the
Get
pipeline.
up. Get down. Get the crap out of this town. Get up. Get down. Get the crap out of this town. Get up. Get down. Get the crap out of this town. Get up. Get down. Get the crap out of our town. Get up. Get down. Get the crap out of our town. Get up. Get down. Get the crap out of our town. Get up. Get down. Get the crap out of our town.
Yes.
Rise up, and shut the pipeline down. I said rise up, and shut the pipeline down. Rise up, and shut the pipeline down. Rise up, and shut the pipeline
shut the pipeline down. I said rise up, and shut the pipeline down. 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 I can't hear you. Here we go. People want to know who we are. So we tell them.
We fight the pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
The secret racist pipeline.
The secret racist pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
We fight the pipeline.
Secret racist pipeline.
Thank you everybody for coming. We are going to be here every single day until we shut this fucking pipeline down. So just want to honor our time together and just make sure that we take care of ourselves so we can show up again tomorrow. Stay on the watch on the NBK Facebook, Instagram, Twitters for action if something kicks off. Just make sure to be there to show up. And thanks all for being so kick-ass today. You guys are amazing. Do a collective breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Thank you.
This concludes the live stream. Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting.